Welcome to the Doomsday Game Dev Club. Today we are going to continue working on our terrain that we created in Piscalap and put it in Gamefroot, which is a game editor, and also put in our character that we created. So let's get started. So I'm going to go back into Gamefruit, Piscalap, sign in, and I'm going to select the dirt I created and select Edit Sprite. And what we're going to do is export it. Export it means we are saving it out as a certain file so we can put it into the game engine. So, in order to export it, we got to select this export function right here and make sure it might start here, but select PNG and go down to the bottom. We're going to use selected frame export, and what it's doing is exporting this frame that is selected right here. You can tell it's selected because it has a yellow border around it. So I'm going to hit download, and then I'm going to do the same for the second one. I'm going to hit export, then download, and you see for me it's showing up right there. It might show up in your download folder. And what we're going to do next is create a folder for our stuff. So let's call this Game Doomsday Game Dev Club for short. Alright. Go in there. I'm going to create a folder called Art Assets. Then I'm going to create a folder called Terrain. Then I need to get to where my stuff is, so I'm going to go to, let's see, how do I make another one? I think I could just copy it from here. Let me see. Anyways, what I can do is go in here, go to downloads, select those two, copy them, then go in here, back to the folder, and then paste. Oh, they need to go in the art assets, then terrain. Alright. So now they're where we want them. The next thing we're going to do is get into Gamefroot. Here's the website up here. It's GAMEFROOT.com. So it's fruit spelled weird. But this is what we're using. I know I said we were going to use what is it called? Scratch, but I messed around with it, and to make a 2D platformer game, this supports it a lot better. So you can create your profile or log in. I'm just going to use mine that's already set up, and then we're going to select New Blank Game. And while you guys are getting that going, I'm just going to explain some stuff about this. As you can see, we have kind of a screen here. This is where we're going to lay out our levels, put characters. And over here, media is basically our assets. This is how we upload them into the game. So I'm going to select Upload Media. I'm going to select Add Files, and I'm going to go find the folder that I put them in. And I can select this. I can press Control left click too and select them both at the same time if I want, or you can do them one at a time. So I got those uploaded. The next step I need to do is create a layer for terrain. So this is important because already in this game engine it knows if I create this new, so it's called a tiled map in here. It knows to make these things terrain, that if I put the character in the game, it knows that it should walk on top of it. So it's important that I create this layer called a tile map, and then I can select it. So I can start click and dragging and putting in my terrain that I've created. And I'm going to make some steps. As you can see, there's a pop-up that says it's been converted into a tile. It's giving it properties. Now I'll just put the grassy part up here. So maybe I will put that in the center so I have something to jump on. I'm just going to make all the top parts grassy. Oops. Excuse me. So I got this all laid out. Nice. So this is pretty much how you're going to set up your levels. Notice how there's a paintbrush there. It means to paint onto the screen, not just for the tiles, but for everything. So you know if that's highlighted, if you press the mouse button, it's going to paste it. If I want to get out of it and select things, which I can't in the terrain, but there's objects you can select, that's what you would use. You can put text if you want. There's the eraser tool, so like I don't want that there, then I can just erase it. And then there's this move tool that actually moves the screen. But if you want a shortcut, you can actually press the middle mouse wheel. If you have a mouse with a wheel in the middle, you can press down on it, move around, and that usually works on a lot of different softwares. Alright, so got our level. I'm going to save it. It's going to, let's see, I'm going to hit save as so I can title it. I'm going to call this what my game is going to be called. I think I'm calling it Curse of the Were Shark. And I can change it later if I want. Alright. So now that we've done all that, we're going to go to our characters that we've created. Back to the Piscal app. I'm going to select my gallery, and I'm going to first show you how I went about creating my character. So, well, first what I did was I sketched it out. As you can see, I made a bunch of different poses, and ways of how this guy could look. I was like, well, I want him to have legs. Like I drew inspiration from SpongeBob with their fish people. And so I put him in pants, I put him in a shirt with a belt. I was trying to see what he might look like if he's running funny. And then I was like, well, maybe he just has a tail instead. Oops. Down there, that's kind of what I went with at the end. This is what he could possibly look like, a were shark. Alright. So after I did that, I started creating in here. But what I did is I created layers. Let me show you what I mean. Just like we had layers in Gamefroot, we have layers in this. And the reason why I use layers is so I can control everything a layer at a time. So I started with the body, and then I moved on up to the eye. Now the reason why I did two parts of the eye is so if I wanted to, I can move this eyeball around and try different looks to see what I want it to look like. And then just deleted everything. Whoops. Alright. That's a fin. You know, just different parts that I wanted to adjust and move around so I could get it looking the way I wanted to. After that, I went in and even before that, you know what? I forgot to explain this. So this was my first go at it. And something about making these, I didn't have enough room to make the detail I wanted. So this didn't quite work out. So what I did was resize. Right now it's at 32 and 32. So I doubled that number to 64 by 64 so I can have more room to create stuff. Now, if you're going to increase the size, always make sure you double it by the number. So I had 32, now I have 64. The next one would be 128, and so on and so forth. Be sure you always just double it, because like in here, in the game editor, it's going to, like if I did 128 by 128, that's 4 of these tiles here. So it would fit perfectly in 4 tiles at a time. And with the 6, and so on and so forth with the different sizes, I think. Anyways, let's go back to... So I asked you guys to create an idle animation. So I made a really simple one. He's just bobbing up and down, as you can see here. And I slowed it way down. So he's just doing that. I did it really simple. Let me show you really quick. What I did was I duplicated, I selected all this, and then I pressed Control X to cut, and it cut it out, but it's still there, as you can see. And then I used Control V to paste it, so you see it made an animation there. So those are the short Control X, Control V, those are shortcuts that we talked about. So these are other ones you want to practice and get used to. You probably do it already with other things like copying and pasting text. Control C to copy, Control V to paste, Control X to cut. So the difference between cut and copy is cut totally removes it from the scene, but it's saved so I can paste it. Copy leaves it there, but I can paste it again. So anyways, this guy is all created, and I'm going to export him just like I did my tiles earlier. So I'm going to do the first frame and then the second frame. Oops. And then I'm going to go back into Gamefroot. I'm going to choose this time create animation. I'm going to do a little something different here. I'm going to upload the sprite. I'm going to add the files just like I did before, but I'm going to, oops, I didn't put it in here. So what I'm going to do really quick is, since I already have these folders open, I can let's see, go back. I got these ready to go. I'm just gonna put avatar. Avatar is like another word for the character you control in the game industry. If you say avatar, that means who you're using as your character. So I'm gonna put those in there. Go back. And add files. Hit done. And then I'm going to hit these plus signs. So it already made an idle thing. Here's the name for the animation we're doing. It's called idle. So it already made a name for it. I can add another one and title it like run. But for now I don't need that. But I can just leave it. So I'm going to add this. I'm going to add that. I'm going to hit play. Oh, he's moving way too fast. So I'm going to change it. I can hit this. Maybe let's do that. See. It's a little better, but still too fast. And maybe that one. That's pretty good. So I'm going to hit save. Oh, it gave me an error. So I ran into this yesterday. This game engine's still being worked on. There's issues. So one thing that I found was a workaround is you might be using Google Chrome like I am. You can go into Microsoft Edge and first I want to get out of this. I'm going to save. Everything's saved. I'm going to go into Edge. I'm going to log in and hit start making. I'm going to, my game should be here if I'm logged in. And that's all set up. I'm going to go to upload media, do the same thing again. Find my folder. And add files. Oops, what is going on? Okay, they're named weird for some reason. Okay, here's another error, I guess. We'll try this again. I'm going to just drag them onto. So another thing you can do is like click, drag, put them onto there. Hit done. Okay. Like I said, this is still a work in progress, this game engine. There's bugs. As you use any kind of software, there's going to be bugs. It happens, so you got to find a workaround. I'm going to send an email to the developer, let them know the bugs I find. You guys, you're welcome to do that too as you work on this. That helps the developer know what they need to fix. So, anyways, back to this. I'm going to add these. I think my time was 0.65. Just double check. Looks good. I'm going to save it. And it's saved, so I can exit out. And now I have an animation here. And I can put them on here. Oops, I did it wrong. I had the tile map selected, so it made it a tile. That's not what I want. I need to make a new layer, and I'm going to call it, make sure it's a new layer, not title map, okay? I'm going to title this player or avatar to be consistent with what we were saying. So, now he's on his own layer. I can put him there. He's good to go. Alright, now we have basically our first kind of world setup. It's good to, when you start out a game, to kind of prototype, to develop all your game mechanics. In game design, we call it like white boxing, because you create kind of these assets that aren't finished, but you can experiment and get things going. So that's kind of what we're doing here. There's this little icon here that says he's missing code, so I'm going to click on this, left click, and I'm going to add a script. So all our code's going to be here, but I'm going to add it to him. And this is our first thing we're going to code. Today we're going to start with what we call events and using the things to get the events going. So, with events, it's kind of like we're telling it, when this thing happens, do this. And you can think of it like, if I press a button, make the character do this. Or like in real life, like a doorbell. If I press the doorbell, make it play the doorbell noise. So, we're going to get this going so we can move him left or right using the left and right arrow keys on the keyboard. So I'm going to start with event, and I'm going to scroll down. There's this area called keyboard, and I'm going to select this. And I can move this around. So the way they have it set up in this is like we have puzzle pieces to code. In real coding, maybe you've seen code before, but this is what real code looks like. This is C#, and it's totally different than doing this, but the game engine developer created it so it's easier to learn programming. So this says when this key is pressed, do something, and we got to figure out what the something is. But first we got to select the key. I'm going to select right arrow when right arrow is pressed. Okay, so what do we want to do when the arrow is pressed? We want to move him. The way we're going to move him is using physics. Physics is how everything moves in the world. It's how energy moves things. So we're going to use something called velocity. We're going to put set velocity. What velocity is, you're moving in a direction at a certain speed. And it says set velocity to x. We also have y. Let me explain what x and y is. X is, we have two dimensions here. X is horizontal, y is vertical. X is from left to right, y is up and down. anything that's a positive number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., goes right. Anything that's negative goes left. And with Y, anything positive goes up, anything negative goes down. So we can pretend our character's in the center and we want to set the velocity for him to go right. Well, that means we have to put a positive number in there. And so I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to start with, let's say, 50. So when that's set, he's going to move at a speed of 50. I think it's pixels per second. I'm not sure. But then I can, to test this out, I can hit play. Oh, it's asking me to save it. So I'm going to call this avatar script. Alright. Now it's loading that up. A little window. If I press the right arrow key, he moves. Uh-oh, but he doesn't stop. He's just going off forever. And I can't stop him. So, let's fix that. I'm going to duplicate. If I right-click this thing here, you can see it's highlighted if I left-click it. Right-click, duplicate. Alright. So, I want him to stop. So, I'm going to set this to 0. And I need to change this. I'm going to hit release because I'm not going to press the key anymore. So when I'm done pressing the key, I want you to stop moving him around. Alright. So I'm going to hit play again. Oh, look. Every time I hit the key, he's moving. So he doesn't fall yet because I haven't given him any weight to fall with. We'll get that done in a little bit. But before I move on, anybody have any questions? If you have questions, please post them in the chat. I forgot to mention that earlier. I got used to not having questions last time, but yeah, post questions in the chat and I'll help you figure things out. So we need to duplicate things, but before we go with that, I'm going to show you something that's practice in programming called add a comment. If I don't remember what this all means, or I want to tell my future self like what this means, or if somebody else looks at it, I can put notes. So I said, this moves avatar right when right arrow is pressed. So now if I come back, let's say I take a week or two off from working on this, I come back, I'm like, what was I doing? I don't even know what this does. I can look at my note. Oh yeah, I remember now. So you can do that as you go along. It's up to you. It just depends on how complex your code is. If you get a big old thing of code, it's good to comment. Something like one thing at a time, maybe not. It's pretty, once you understand it, it's clear what it is. Alright, so let's move him left. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to hit left arrow, pressed. Now you remember what I said about going left is negative? I'm going to hit a negative on that. And then I'm going to duplicate this one. And I'm going to put left arrow. And this is good to go because I want it to go to 0. So, let's hit play. Alright. It's kind of working. Like he goes right, but then he stops. I'm not sure what's going on here. Let me double check. Everything looks good, so there must be some kind of collision weird thing going on there. But I'm not happy with the speed. I'm going to change it to 150 on both. Try that out. Oh, he's going really fast, so maybe 100's fine. Hit it again. That's pretty good. It's still kind of fast, but yeah, when I go off that edge, it kind of gets weird. So, how do we make him fall? Well, we need to use physics. We need to use gravity. We're going to use a different event, though. I'm going to put... There's one called constantly, meaning all the time. As long as my character's on the screen, I want you to constantly do this. Let me just double check something really quick. If I'm using the right one. Okay, I got ahead of myself. We're using a different event. It's not constantly. We're going to use that, but I'm going to put that over to the side for now. It's when created. When created. So when this character is created, which he does at the beginning because I placed him there, it's going to run this code and make him basically have, it's giving him gravity. So, first what I need to do is I need to go into physics and need to find gravity. Okay, there's two parts. I need them both. I'm going to do set gravity and then I'm going to set it. I figured it out so we don't have to spend a bunch of time for now. I mean, you can still adjust it, but 2, 2, 5 seems pretty good for me. And then I'm going to add reacts to gravity. Let's see. Down here, this makes sure he's heavy and he reacts to how gravities work. There's already a gravity code underneath all this that we don't have to know. That's figured out. But so basically, by saying, oh, we need to change this to Y though, because we're talking about up and down. If we want him to fall, we have to worry about Y. So I'm saying with this here, that's almost like his weight. Like he's like 225 pounds almost, and he's going to fall. And set to gravity, I could say true or false. There might be times I want to make something not have react to gravity and float around. My guy's a fish guy. Maybe I want him to fish or float around. Maybe I turn that off. Or I could just turn his gravity to be a lot slower. Anywho, I've experienced a bug where it's not letting me save it or anything, which is not good. So there are buttons over here if you want to zoom in on the center. You can do this, you can do that. I'm just going to try refreshing it. It might delete everything. And I'll have to quickly create that again. Let's see. Yep. It's all gone. But let me see. Open. Oh, I didn't save my character either. Okay, so this is a good lesson on saving. You want to save often, especially since we're using a tool online. The internet might disconnect for some reason and not save, or other problems arise. So you want to get the practice of saving a lot. In fact, I'm going to save this. Now it saved it to this, but it didn't save it to my game. Okay, it's saved. Now I need to go in here and hit save game. Alright. Made a bunch of duplicates. I don't need them. I think I can delete them. Maybe not, but I'll figure that out later. Gonna take my guy. Oops. Again, I forgot. Need to create all this. Take my guy again. Add script. Hurry up and fix these. As you can see, like every keyboard key is on there. It's just the more commonly used ones are on the top. Just gonna keep adjusting these, then do this. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to hit save. Seems like I already did this, but I didn't save it to the game, so I'm going to hit save again. Now I'm kind of where I left off. I can go into here if I want to choose that. Oh, code's there. Anyways. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the event. When created, physics. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Reacts to gravity. Move this up a little out of the way. I hit play. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. It's because it was on the X. Alright, so he collides with the ground. I need to adjust my sprite. Once I go down, he falls down. There you go. And I forgot to change this to negative. Alright. Okay, so we can make him fall, but how about we make him jump now? I'm going to close this out, save. I'm going to hurry up and save. So I got everything. It looked like it saved it. I don't know what's going on. This is kind of being weird. I didn't really need to go back and do everything, I think. But anywho. So we're going to use an event. Keyboard. As we've been using with the other ones. But we're going to choose up arrow to jump. And let's see here. I'm going to use physics again. We're going to use set velocity again. And hit Y. And I'm going to set the velocity to the negative of this. I'm going to keep these closer together so they're related. So that's 250. So if I want him to jump, I need to change that so he's basically weightless for a little bit. I'm going to hit play. I can hit the up button and he jumps. He jumps really high. Is it high enough to jump over this? Yeah, well, sort of. Let's see. There we go. This collision's kind of off. It's not working as I'd like. One way I can fix this is go into here, go to left click, right click, go into edit animation. And I'm going to go, he has something called a hitbox. This is his collision. That box, if he runs into something, the wall, this is going to stop right here where this is. I'll show you. See how I'm pressing right, but he's stopping at the wall at that point. So I need to go left click, right click, edit animation, and I'm going to the hitbox, and I'm going to adjust it a little bit. Move it over there, move it over here, maybe, oops, didn't want that. But that's pretty, oh, no, I should have left it. Alright, that's good. That's decent. I'm going to save it. Close this out. Hit play. See, now could still be tweaked a little bit more, but I'm having an easier time jumping. So, alright. So we got him jumping, we got him moving around. It's pretty good. Last thing we need to do, though, is if we want to really lay out our levels and stuff, we need the camera to follow. See, he just disappears off the screen. So we're going to add one more bit of code here. And that constantly thing I talked about earlier, I'm going to put that there. Like I said, this is constantly running code. Basically, every second or so, or even quicker than that, it's checking this saying, do I need to do something? Do I need to do something? And it will do whatever I tell it to do in here. So what we need to do is have the camera focus on the character at all times. So I'm going to go into looks, scroll down, there's a camera section. I'm going to select, where is it? Center camera on myself. And it knows it's myself means whatever code I put this into. So it knows it's the character already. So I'm going to do that. Hit play. There you go. Now it follows it around. Now, one thing is I'd like to see my character just a little bit better. I'm going to add, there's something called the camera scale. Let's see. And it determines how close it is. I'm going to duplicate that because I need it for both the X and Y. So I'm going to change that to 1.25. I'll show you what happens if I'll take that out. I'll show you what happens if I just did it like that. It's going to stretch it out. See, it's a little more stretched. I don't want that. I need the Y to be the same. .25. Hit play. Alright, it's a little bit closer. I like it. You can see the detail a little bit better. Alright. So that's pretty much it for today. Now we have a level we can mess around with. So the next thing we need to work on is creating a run animation for this character and putting it in just like we did the idle. And how we do that is, I can select this, go into edit animation, and then I'm going to hit the plus and then call it run, hit OK, and then I'm going to import it and put it in there. And I want you to try to figure out how to put that animation into your run keys, like pressing left and right, and make them like play the animation when that happens, and then go back to idle when you're not pressing anything. I want you to try to experiment and figure that out. I'll show you how to do it next week. I also want you to start thinking about creating a power-up for your character, like something that would like attack enemies, maybe do something special. Like in Super Mario, you get a mushroom, you grow big. You get a flower, you shoot fireballs. You get a star, you're invincible. Start thinking about that kind of stuff. Think about how your level is going to be looking like. You can create more art assets for this. You could create trees for the background. You can create, different tiles, put clouds, things like that. Try to find some 2D platformers, classic ones that you can play like online, like Super Mario Brothers or Metroid or Sonic or one of my favorites it's really hard. It's called Wizards and Warriors, and I'm going to kind of based off of that, but get ideas so you can kind of see what other games are doing. If you're curious to see what a level map looks like, you can just Google level map for Super Mario Brothers, and it'll do a whole stretch of what that is. You can look at it, see how they place things, and you can start laying out your level. Excuse me. You can also, for homework, continue improving. Like, I'm going to make the idle animation maybe a little better. I might make this character look different. I kind of I don't know if I'm totally happy. You can see I made some shading there. I might do some more of that. I don't know. And he might change over time. I might put a logo on his shirt. I might make this a bigger sprite and add more detail. Who knows? So yeah, just make this more detailed. Get the running thing going. Figure out the ability. And also create an enemy. I want you to create an enemy, but make two versions of it. You can make it two different colors. You can make them animated and move if you want. It's up to you. But it's an enemy your character can jump on. And I'll show you guys how to get that all set up in the next time. So that's about it for today. I don't see any questions. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Oh, one last thing. I just want to show you the difference between there's 8-bit and 16-bit. 8-bit is the Nintendo era of graphics and Super Nintendo. The difference is there's for graphics at least, it's 256 pixels, or colors, sorry. 256 colors you can choose from. For 16-bit, it's over 65,000. So you can see the difference. Like, you can only choose one kind of color usually. With this, you can shade and make tones and stuff, you see? I prefer doing it this way, but it's up to you. There's even 32-bit, and that's just even more colors and stuff, and less pixels. But anyways, just thought you might think that's interesting. But, so thanks again for watching. If you want to submit the things you're creating and want to show me, you can send it to my email. Let me bring that up real quick. It's at here. You can. Oh, let me edit that out. It's at doomsdaygdc@gmail.com. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. So you can do that, or you could post it on this page too if you want. And I can showcase what you guys have been created, so everyone can see your work if you want to show it off. I'd like to see what you guys have been working on. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot. Please post any questions there. You can also email questions to me too. And I will see you guys next time.